Hi there, this is Tata, and welcome not only to It's Wrestling Time, but to the WrestleManiacs Podcast. As always, I'm joined by fellow WrestleManiac, Josh.
Hey guys and gals of WrestleManiacs. Yes, don't refresh your Twitter feed. Don't refresh your Facebook feed. Yes, it is Datala. She is back again reviewing NXT for you guys and gals of the WrestleManiacs Podcast, and as well as Rangers of Wrestling. So again, don't refresh the page. We definitely got quite a hell of a show to talk about tonight, and I'm so glad to have Datala back.
I'll be here next week too. But before we get started, before anybody asks, no, I will not be attending NXT Battleground on June 9th. It's on a Sunday. If it were on a Saturday, I'd at least consider it. But the answer is no. So nobody asked.
They didn't ask you when they were supposed to have it. That's the problem. They should have asked you what day they needed to have it. That's the problem. Right.
I'll be watching from home.
For sure. Same here.
All right, so we had an incredible main event. It was for the NXT World Title, Ilja Dragunov versus Trick Williams. If Trick Williams lost tonight, he had to leave NXT. But before we get into this main event, we had a Trick Williams segment he was talking on the phone with his mom, and then Johnny Gargano showed up. I'm not sure if they have history here. You know, I watch NXT on and off here. But Gargano was just basically giving him a prep talk, talking to him about how he should take his loss, his pain, and his betrayal and use it as a weapon, and how when he won the NXT title, it changed his life and stuff. So it's like, do they have history, or was this just Gargano giving him a pep talk?
No, but I really kind of think they were trying to tell us a parallel story with Johnny Gargano. No, there's not real history, but as you saw, we had a lot of different main roster kind of show up and talk about this main event, which made it make a really big fight feel. But no specific history. But if you really think about Johnny Gargano's history in NXT, and I'll do a quick little blurb about that. He had his best friend Tommaso Ciampa show up. Again, they were DIY. And then, of course, Ciampa turned heel on him. So we kind of got a little bit of a parallel. I kind of wish WWE would have maybe hinted more at that. But again, now they're a tag team, so they're really not going to talk about their sordid history. But no specific history. I think it was just a former champion talking to Trick Williams. And again, we had another former current world champion show up. And we'll talk about that in a little bit to visit with somebody else on the roster.
So you're saying that Trick Williams is Johnny Gargano and Carmelo Hayes is Tommaso Ciampa in this situation?
Technically, because, Gargano, was the ultimate babyface. And, look, some of their epic matches, there was a match to where Ciampa took off Gargano's wedding ring and spit on it and threw it, basically on the ground. So, there was some
I also come back to Becky last night. Yeah, I didn't do a Raw review. I was exhausted. I flew in from Vegas, at 10. I landed in LA, around 11 something. I didn't get home till midnight.
Yeah, it was definitely a late night for Donna, but that's what she does for the Rangers of Wrestling podcast. She sacrifices her time, and I know I appreciate it when she comes and just does our podcast. But she's got another podcast on her own, so she's the GOAT for a reason.
So I thought that was a little interesting. Also, whoop that chick! I'm so happy for Chick. Me too. I'm really happy for Chick. I haven't been following the story as much as you have, as JJ has, wherever he is. But I was really happy for him. But again, before we get into the main event, we had a Trick Williams interview where he was just basically saying that he either wins tonight or he leaves NXT for good. He has to prove himself right, prove himself wrong. And he was either going to fight, and like his mama said, he's going to whoop that Trick.
Yep.
I already answered that. And the answer is no.
You better be careful. You're going to get spammed every day now until it's over with.
We also got an interview with Ilja Dragunov saying that the only thing he has in his life is his family and that title, and that Trick isn't going to change that. And then, Damian Priest shows up and says, wishes him good luck. And he tells Sarah Schreiber, how are you doing? Say my name and I appear. Okay. Trick Williams is NXT champion, and I wonder what's next for Ilja on the main roster.
I have a theory about that for Ilja.
Me too. And we'll get into it right now. So this main event with Ilja Dragunov and Trick Williams. This was an incredible main event. This was really good. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did Trick Williams used Ilja's own moves against him, the H-bomb and the Torpedo Moscow?
Yes. I mean, this definitely was a match that, I'll be honest with you, when I looked at the clock, I thought, God, they've only got 10 minutes and we're just at the entrances. They went overtime, over past the 9 o'clock hour here, Central. And again, probably, 7, I think, o'clock your time. Yeah, it was definitely a match that built. Again, I first thought, oh, we're going to get a quick match. Trick's going to get the win. But they really had a really good, a more exciting match than I really expected. Not that I didn't expect them to have a good match, don't get me wrong, but for the time constraints I thought they had on USA, they allowed them to have an overture, and that really made a big difference. I really got into it for sure.
I also says it's interesting who gets moved to NXT since it's part of the Trap Me 3. Yeah, definitely. We'll get into that right now, but yeah, this was a great fucking match. And then like that bookend off the barricade to the announce table, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, another spot that I liked was that superplex to H-bomb. Oh my God. When Ilja blew that kiss and then the H-bomb, I was like, it can't be over for Trick. It can't end this way. But as we all know, Trick Williams won after he hit the trick shot, and he became the new NXT world champion. And at the end, I really like the fact that Ilja Dragunov handed the title himself. They both hugged. And he exited the ring, and that Trick had his moment with the fans. And of course, you know, Trick Williams celebrated with the fans a passing of the torch as Ilja Dragunov is going to go over to the main roster. Have either replace Vinci in Imperium or have him team with Vinci against Gunter and Kaiser. So now the question is, Ilja Dragunov, what does he do on the main roster? Like JJ said, I could see one of those. I think it's going to be the latter. As we know, yesterday, Kaiser turned on poor Vinci. And, you know, Ilja Dragunov and Gunter have history. They had a rivalry in NXT. Yep. Ilja Dragunov ended Gunter's reign in NXT. So I could definitely see the latter here being Ilja Dragunov teaming up with Vinci to take on Kaiser and Gunter here. What about you?
I'm hoping for the former. I mean, again, because, you know, it's been interesting. If you really watch back on NXT tonight, and we'll talk about that as time goes on, all of the baby faces pretty much were like, man, look, Trick's going to take it. All the heels, a lot of them went with Dragunov. Even Damian Priest saying, good luck, champ. And so to me, I think they're kind of telegraphing that when he shows up to the main roster, I think he's going to be with Imperium. I just think it's going to be a thing. Vinci has, you know, again, he's got talent, no doubt, but I really think they're going to have him be a part of Imperium's stable because you know what? He's been acting kind of heelish. Why would a babyface tell another babyface, look, if you don't win, you're out of NXT? That's a heel move. So I think they've really been starting to telegraph he's going to be a full-fledged heel come main roster time.
I also noticed a confrontation with Dragunov and Damian and saying, yeah, possibly a sign of things to come. You know, they are doing a Clash at the Castle, so maybe that's where Ilja debuts.
That'd be neat. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Actually, no, that can't be because that's like in the summer, so he's probably...
Oh, that's right. We have Backlash. You're right. And then King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring as well. But I mean, he could have a title match against Damian. Who knows? I mean, again, I would imagine it'd be Drew or Sheamus, but you know, WWE, you never can tell who's going to be. It could be a fatal four-way for all we know. 3 UK guys.
Okay, I just looked it up. It's Saturday, June 15th. So no, that's actually plausible. You know, you hold off on his debut, have him debut at Clash at Castle, maybe.
I mean, look, we had a year or however many months for Veer Mahan showing up on Raw. So, I mean, you know, who knows how long they can have the Mad Dragon vignettes, right?
Yeah. All right. So NXT Spring Breakin kicked off with a backstage segment with all the GMs. Let me see. Plus, with the history between Ilja and Gunter, it could be a case of keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's true.
Yes.
And all the GMs were talking about the draft. Like, all this mentioned how he's got his eyes on a few talent. Pierce mentioned the women's division. Alden said he was going to be watching the world title match. Basically, Ava Raine talking about who in NXT is going to step up and take the place of the people leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And that after tonight, NXT will never be the same. So, I feel like Ilja for sure is going to the main roster.
Yes.
My favorite show is not NXT. It's actually TNA Impact. Who else from the women? I don't know, because Roxy didn't lose her title, but we'll get into that right now. So you had a triple threat NXT women's title match: Lyra Valkyria versus Tatum Paxley versus Roxanne Perez. Whoop that trick. Yes. That was, like I said, the main event was great. This was a good women's match. I actually really like that. You know, I'm starting to appreciate the NXT women's division. I think they have a really great division full of talent and potential here. Now, I haven't seen much of a lot of the women because, you know, I don't watch NXT on a weekly basis. I'm not even going to acknowledge JJ's comment here. But it's starting to grow on me. I will say it's starting to grow on me. Tell him, Ayo, Isi Casa. Their division is better than the main roster. It's not that the main roster doesn't have the talent, because the main roster has the talent. It's just your booking sucks sometimes.
But the mere fact, if we think about it, we've got the Lyra Valkyria, Tatum Paxley, Roxanne Perez. That's one feud, right? We've got Natalya and Lola Vice. Then we've got Thea Hale and Jacy Jane, and then we had Sol Ruca and Blair Davenport. That's 4 different feuds across one television show, where Raw and SmackDown are 2. So again, I mean, you do have some mini feuds, but definitely NXT is killing it with the women's division in terms of having 4 feuds, and now technically 5 with Fallon, Henley, and Jaida Parker. Later on, we'll talk about that too. So pretty impressive
women's division in the States. Yep.
Agreed.
So, like I said, I thought this was a good match. Like that Fisherman's Brainbuster to Paxley that Lyra Valkyria did was good. Roxanne Perez won after she did the jackknife cover to Paxley. But you know what? Where does she go from here? Like, she's gonna have a lengthy reign. I don't think it's over between her and Lyra Valkyria here. There's still that story.
No.
It seems like it's still brewing.
Well, I love the fact that they've changed Tatum Paxley's character. She doesn't really care about Lyra. She only cared about whoever the champion is. And so, you know, I think we'll have another triple threat. I wouldn't be upset if we had another triple threat. This was pretty good. And, you know, the way Roxanne Perez won almost reminded me of like Crash Holly in the hardcore title way back in the 2000s, right? Because it was just so sneaky. So the Houdini of hardcore. I don't know. I just love that she literally took advantage of a jackknife pin. So we'll probably get another triple threat. I wouldn't be upset about that.
I also says multiple women's who'd wire Raw and SmackDown not copying that, right? I mean, SmackDown 2016 was the closest we ever got multiple feuds for all the women.
Mm-hmm.
Gigi and Ariana Grace too. I'm sure Gigi isn't going to tolerate these shenanigans for long.
Thank you. Thank you for a reminder. That's 6 now.
It's getting drafted to the main roster. Yeah, pretty much. I think I agree, Michael. So next we get a Thea Hale backstage segment. She's basically talking about how she's going to handle Jacy Jane next week. And she's happy everyone is on the same page. But basically this whole thing is supposed to set up a Fallon, Henley, and Jaida Parker, because Jaida Parker like interrupts that little thing that Thea Hale has got going on. She shoves Fallon and Henley, which sets up their match later on in the night.
Yeah, I mean, NXT is good, but again, like I said, every once in a while you'll have this like, who is that? Oh, Jaida Parker. Oh, she's the girl with the Out of the Mud group. And again, I hate to say that, but I was literally waiting, like saying, who is that? Oh, okay, that's who she is. Okay, got it. So there's kind of the problem with NXT. Sometimes you have people that are around, sometimes they're not, and you're like, oh, I forgot about that person. But yeah, I mean, Thea Hale, of course, typical Jacy Jane build. And again, I'm waiting for the match. They better be good, because they're having pretty, they're taking up a lot of time on the show. So I'm hoping it's good.
JJ has got to shout out his girl Thea Hale.
Yeah.
So the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile get interviewed backstage, and they're basically talking about the Trick Williams, Ilja Dragunov match, and Brutus says he goes for whoop that trick. He says Williams is going to slay the dragon. There wasn't really much to go on here, except for that they were picking who they wanted to see win.
But you know what cracks me up about this? And I don't know why. This is just a joke between my wife and I about Julius Creed. Every once in a while, she's like, why does he have glasses now? And now sometimes he doesn't have glasses. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why that is, but it's kind of an inside joke between us because she thinks he's handsome. I'm like, oh, there's your man. And she's like, well, he's got glasses tonight. So we always have this inside joke. So I don't know. I mean, good energy, though, them two had. I definitely like that they were there, and you could tell, even if they were faking it, they seemed like they were really intrigued by this match tonight. It really made that big fight feel.
You should put on glasses for your wife.
I do have glasses. I usually have contacts for this, and I put on my glasses, and I'm like, look who I am. So, yeah, trust me, we have fun with that. I always laugh about that. So,
let me see. JJ says lots of NXT alumni. They do a good job of making sure who's ready for the NXT pay-per-views and who's not. Gamer. You wouldn't be surprised if the Creeds and Ivy are all drafted back to NXT. Weird stealing Julius with glasses. They're going to. I agree with JJ there. I think they're going to align with Chad Gable's new Alpha Academy here. I think he's going to ditch the Alpha Academy.
Please give that to me.
So we got a vignette for Tyson DuPont and Tyreek. Can't say his last name. I don't know anything about them. This is the first time I've seen them. I don't know if they've been on NXT before.
They appeared on NXT Level Up back in August of last year. I think it's Igwe, maybe is how you say his last name, Tyreek Igwe. Yeah, and they fought against Enofe and Blade in a losing effort. Then they appeared a couple weeks later in August on NXT Level Up with facing Hank Walker and Tank Ledger, but were defeated. So really I've not seen them. I kind of was wondering who the hell they were too. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's a tag team. Nice. I mean, again, it's always good to see. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. First vignette. So I'm somewhat curious to see what how they're gonna do.
Me too. Like, again, this is the first, first impressions are everything. And like, I was like, okay, I was intrigued. So they said that they're gonna debut next week. So they're debuting on night 2 of Spring Breakin. So we'll see how that goes.
This may be controversial, and I don't mean it to be, but they gave off, and I mean this in the best way possible, they gave off the fun, cool, hip babyface like Crime Time vibes to me, because they were just talking to the camera saying, we're coming next week, and I really enjoyed kind of the way Crime Time was as a tag team. And not their vignettes necessarily, but I definitely like, and I'm intrigued to see what we're going to see next week. From
JJ kind of agrees with you here.
Right. And it's just because they give off the energy, I think, of fun-loving, and they just, I don't know, man, they're just inner city kids coming to fight in NXT. So again, I would love to see that happen.
Michael says he's looking forward to their debut too. We get a 6-man tag match. It's the Angelo family versus No Quarter Catch Crew. Apparently, No Quarter Catch Crew owes the Angelo family money because they took care of Drew Gulak.
Yes, because Ronda Rousey actually took care of Drew Gulak with her comment. But yes, that was their way of having this feud, which is such a weird way to do it. I guess I get it. But honestly, when I was writing my notes, for whatever reason, I put No Quarter Catch Crew, I put New Catch Republic. I'm like, wait, no, it's No Quarter Catch Crew. So pretty good match between these three. I mean, or these 6 men. I mean, it was what it was. This match honestly made me realize that D'Angelo, I hate to say it, he really doesn't have much of a moveset to speak with. Punches and maybe a spinebuster, great, but I don't know. I wanted more from him specifically in this match, and I didn't get it.
Tony D'Angelo won this match for his team. He did that spinebuster to Charlie Dempsey here.
Angry Willy Wonka is what I call him.
Last time I called him Patrick Dempsey. I don't even like Grey's Anatomy. I don't know where that came from.
Again, he looks like an angry Willy Wonka to me, like a young Willy Wonka out to, feud. But I mean, in the best way possible. It's not a knock. I just think the way he looks like an angry Willy Wonka to me.
But I thought this was a really great match. At the end, you had that stare down between both factions, and the D'Angelo family basically wants their money.
Yep.
They had to figure out a way to explain Gulak's sudden disappearance, so this was a good information.
Yeah, it works for what it was. Again, I hate that for Drew Gulak, but again, I'm just a Drew Gulak fan, so.
We had Blair and Corbin. He's talking to like a photographer, and basically the whole point of this is that Lexis Keane interrupts because he's gonna give to set up their match, and he gives them a going away basket. And Baron Corbin takes it as, what makes him think he's leaving NXT. But yeah, the whole point of it is to set up a match later on in the night. What are your thoughts on this?
It's kind of weird. Lexis King with so many different vignettes over the last couple of weeks, he really has not, to me, lived up to his, I don't want to say reputation, really, because there's not one, but his character makes no sense to me. He fought Carmelo Hayes because he wanted to get on a PLE. Great. He fought other people. He's just an obnoxious character, but there's no real, I don't feel purpose for him. And again, to fight Baron Corbin, that's great, but Baron Corbin technically is a face now, I guess, technically, even though they were heels, but a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know. Again, this was a weird way to set it up, it seems like. But again, to Michael's point, I mean, he is doing better than he did in AEW, but I don't know. I still want more from his character development.
Lexis King is doing better. Yeah, he is. I haven't really been following the Lexis King character because, again, on and off here, but he seems to be doing better. I agree with Michael.
Yeah. Well, it's funny now that we talk about that, and I'll have to bring this up now that I think about it. He actually was feuding, as I recall, with Von Wagner, who now got let go this past weekend. So that was a very important thing. And same with Cameron Grimes, who we just saw on SmackDown last week. So again, interesting just development, but now his character had to kind of pivot because he's no longer feuding with Mr. Stone and Von Wagner. So
JJ says, it shows that I need to watch more. That's not going to happen.
Throwing bombs, is he?
We get Fallon Haley versus Jaida Parker, as we talked about. This was set up from that earlier segment. This is a decent match. I think, pretty decent match. I think Jaida Parker has potential to be a big star. And so does Fallon Haley. Henley,
yeah. I mean, Fallon Henley's character, I wanted to like it more. I mean, originally her story was her family owned a bar and she got in a feud with the girl who was going to buy the bar to get him out of it. And she was with, I don't want to say she hasn't changed. I like her character. She's spunky, but I really want a good feud for her to sink her teeth into because it seems like she kind of feuds with somebody and it kind of just dissipates over time. So, but decent match. I kind of had to laugh when Jaida Parker used her hip as a finishing move because, again, I think that's what Lola Vice also uses as part of her gimmick. So, but decent enough match. I mean, it was serviceable for sure.
I think they call it the teardrop hip check.
Really weird name. And I don't like the name Out of the Mud either. I don't understand their characters either. So, I mean, I've been watching into there. It's a hit and miss. It's kind of one of those rare, like, oh yeah, I remember Out of the Mud. Okay, that's who those guys are. So they're not really seemingly on as often as they should be.
Michael says he likes Fallon. He thinks he has potential. I agree.
Me too.
I thought it was funny how Jaida snatched her weave after she won. I missed that. I did not see that at me.
I didn't know whether to bring that up or not, but I did think that was pretty funny. She just ripped it off and threw it on the ring mat. So I thought that was pretty good.
I feel like Fallon is floundering after Tiffany moved up.
Yes. I totally would agree.
We get a Jacy J promo. She's basically talking about Thea. At first I have to say this is an incredible promo by Jacy J, and I think she's really good. I think this is the first time I hear her cut a promo.
I mean, she's gotten better. She definitely added the toxic attraction group. If I can say that 3 times fast. I really didn't expect much from her. I mean, because again, you have Mandy Rose and you had Gigi Dolan, but really she surprised me with her promo skills, and now she's got her Mean Girls crew with her. So, yeah, I mean, again, they're building up to this Jacy Jane and Thea Hale match, and I'm really hoping it's going to be good when we get it because they haven't really touched much beyond just a brawl here or there, but nothing really concrete, I would say.
The match is happening next week, and I honestly feel like this shouldn't just be a one-and-done match.
No. I think Jacy Jane will catch her next week, and then there'll be a return, I would hope.
I think Jacy Jane will probably be, and JJ's probably not going to like me saying this, but I think Jacy Jane's probably going to beat Thea Hell somehow, some way. And then Thea Hell is going to get her just desserts on Jacy Jane.
I would agree.
I agree with you. He doesn't think Jacy would have thrived after the group. He's surprised. Jacy's really good at promo. She's one of my favorites, and she's good in the ring. Thea Hell has all the potential too. She does. They both do. Yeah. Should be a great match. Actually, looking forward to it.
Same here.
We're getting 2 matches out of Jacy and Thea. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a one and done. I think Jacy Jane takes it next week.
Same here.
JD McDonagh gets interviewed again. Well, not again.
Our favorite bobblehead.
Not like again, like he was interviewed earlier tonight, but again asking about the Ilja Dragunov and Trick Williams. He talks about his own history and own rivalry with Ilja Dragunov. An incredible rivalry, one of the best in NXT, as he said.
It was good.
Yeah. And then New Catch Republic shows up. You know, Don's got his money on Ilja and Bate has his money on Trick Williams.
Sorry, I'm laughing at his comment here. JD McFunko Pop.
McFunko Pop. Everybody keeps saying JD McDonagh has a big head.
He does. He does have a big head. It's weird. He talks like Finn Balor's got a big giant head. It's so strange. He's got talent though.
So we get a Ridge Holland segment, and like Shawn Spears is telling him to let his thoughts out. So he's kind of playing like a devil's advocate gimmick here.
It kind of makes me think of, it was funny. I watched the Devil's Advocate movie the other day, just again, and it kind of does remind me of that. No, you should let it out because I mean, I think they can definitely do something with this. If Shawn Spears is able to get in Ridge's head and actually allow that aggression to come out. Now, I hope that they actually put Shawn Spears in the ring and don't make him a manager. But if they're going to do this Devil's Advocate character from Shawn Spears, I'm all for it because he needs something else to do.
Oh my God, everybody's ragging on poor JD in the chat here. JD McFlurry, JD McNugget, JD McFivehead.
So crazy. Poor JD.
The Shawn Spears segment was a perfect 10.
Ah, nice throwback.
We'll talk about the rankings at the end. So we get the contract signing for the Underground match. And I have to say, like, Shayna Baszler, it was so different hearing Shayna Baszler actually get a pop and get chanted for. You know, Shayna Baszler was a Queen of Spades. She was NXT Women's Champion. I still don't know why they never did Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler on the main roster. The story was right there. Shayna Baszler was NXT Women's Champion. Who took the title off of her? Rhea Ripley.
Yep. She's an unsung hero to me. She's so good.
Yeah. Like, again, story was right there and they didn't do it.
I would have hoped that maybe I wouldn't have been upset if she would have been the next challenger. Of course, we were going to Liv Morgan until the injury angle, or I say the angle, but really the injury, legit injury to Rhea Ripley. But yeah, I mean, it was weird hearing Baszler get that sort of pop. But you know what, though? The thing is, I think that to me, they're kind of heel characters, but her and Stark are so good, at least on Monday Night Raw. One of my really guilty pleasures was watching them have interactions because to me, they're just two badass women that are looking for a fight. And to me, what else can you have? I liked her team much more than she had with Rousey.
I love how Natty gets treated well on NXT.
Yes, I do too.
So, you know, Lola Vice definitely has potential. I think she's going to be a big star for the women's division.
I would agree. I think she's definitely going to usher in a new era and a new type of, I don't want to say she's the Tiffany Stratton of NXT right now, but I definitely say she's got a character that kind of exuberates out of the screen, essentially, that you could tell that she's just not. I mean, and again, I say this in the best way possible for a heel. Her job is to make you not like her and to make it to where you want to see her ass kicked. And to me, she does a good job because I want Natty to really have that throwback to the dungeon, right to the Heart Dungeon. So I'm really looking forward to this NXT Underground match. Now, would I have guessed on my 2024 bingo card we would have had an NXT Underground match for two women, especially those two legit athletes? No, but I'm liking it.
I really like the segment. Wasn't expecting her to be in Lola's color. Me neither. Most main roster talent gets pops when they come back to NXT. I figured with the women's NA title coming up, this is a perfect for someone like Lola. I agree. So, but you know what? Looking forward to that. I think Lola Vice should win that.
Although, you know what? I've got to call out poor Petrovic. She tried to hit that kick on Shayna Baszler, and poor Shayna Baszler just sold it like she was dead. And I'm like, you barely touched her. But again, I kind of like that there's going to be this tension between the four. So that'll be not a bad match at all.
JJ says people need to stop sleeping on Lola. People just see her as a Latina with However, she's a badass in the ring. She's no joke. She's a badass in the ring. I agree. But like I said, she's got potential. She's definitely gonna be a huge star.
I definitely agree.
We get the beach ball match, Blair Davenport versus Sal Roca. You want to talk about this one?
Oh, I wanted to go in liking this. I was thinking, okay, two pretty good characters. Soul has got definitely a lot of athleticism. Not taking anything away from these ladies. They both have potential. Let me say that before I start. But this match, beyond one table spot, I hated it. I hated it because they were hitting each other with these little plastic Walmart $5 little boogie boards. Now, there was a spot to where Sol Ruca basically threw Blair Davenport with an X Factor into a kiddie pool full of balls and put the boogie board, at least the surfboard on her and stood on it and kind of did a wave thing. I don't know. I mean, for somebody to, let me put it this way. If you and I were fighting and you took me out for a year, I'm not going to throw you in a thing of a kiddie pool full of balls. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have hit you with a lot more than just some little Walmart $5 boogie board. The match got better. She did do basically I don't even know what you call it, literally held her on her back and literally did a back dive into the table. But I don't know. As much heat as there should have been in this match, there was a lot of silliness that I really didn't like about this match. I want a brawl. I don't want two kids playing with pool noodles in a pool hitting each other with it. That's what it felt like, at least for most of the match. So, especially being taken out for a year over by Davenport, there should have been a more definitive hitting with chairs and kendo sticks, not throwing a beach ball at her in a football. So, again, Sol Ruca won, all well and good. Again, the ladies have potential. I don't know who the producer was. Didn't like this match at all. Hurt their feud, I think.
I think this is the end. I think commentary said this is the end of the feud, and Ayo brings up a good point. He thinks Davenport should get caught up. She does. He doesn't see what's up in NXT. I could see that happening. It was just a fun match. Not every match needs to be Danielson versus Ospreay. Was a beach brawl. They fought with beach items. I enjoyed it. I saw some of it. I didn't see the whole thing. I did see that Sol Ruca won, though. I knew that. So
it picked up. Don't get me wrong. It picked up at the end, and it wasn't a terrible, terrible match. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for the feud, look, would it be fun to watch Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes have a barbershop match and hit each other with barber chair stuff? Yeah, sure, great. But for the heat that's needed, I think this would have been something. I don't know. I just expected a little bit more of. And again, it's not their fault. Again, they had the beach items. They had to do what they had to do. But I don't know. Again, I agree the match was serviceable, but I just wanted a little bit more stank on it. I guess you call it a little bit more. I definitely didn't want Danielson and Ospreay. That's a whole nother match level all its own. So
I saw that match today.
I saw it Sunday. It was wonderful.
Yeah. So last but certainly not least, we had Baron Corbin versus Lexis King. Lexis King was victorious after he hit Baron Corbin with the low blow and then the coordinate. I think that's his finisher. This is because Baron almost crashed into the ref, but he stopped himself. You think Baron Corbin, this is a sign that Baron Corbin's going to go back to the main roster? He's basically putting Lexis King over.
I mean, they might have another match. Honestly, seeing Baron Corbin as a babyface is kind of weird now. I mean, I get it. He's kind of a bro and he's just a regular dude and all well and good, but I don't know. I've got to say, Braun and him, at first I hated it, but it actually worked. They really worked well as a team, and I think Michael said the same thing in the chat as well. No, I think Baron will stick around a little bit longer. I think we'll have a little bit more of a feud because Lexis King has to have something to do. But again, it was really weird seeing the 7-foot-tall, at least a giant Baron Corbin basically being a babyface. It was a little odd, but it made sense for the way Lexis King won with a low blow and his neck breaker finisher, although I still want a different finisher from him, but that's just me.
I really do hope they pair Corbin and Baron back on the main roster. Really missing Corbin and Baron as a tag team. He loves Sal Roca's Soul Snatcher finisher. Corbin needs to stay in NXT. If he goes back to the main roster, then he'll be catering within 6 months. I can see that happening.
Hey, look, if JBL can get you over, I mean,
I'm gonna end right there because we really did talk about the main event. So, Josh, on a scale from a 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10, what would you rank tonight's show?
It may not be popular. I'm going to give it like 7.5. Again, the main event was great. It was telegraphed pretty much throughout the show. You might as well expect Trick Williams to win. If he didn't win, I would have been shocked. But the whole entire time you knew, oh, these main roster guys are showing up. There's no way he's not walking out with that damn title. So 7.5, it wasn't bad. Good main event. Good starting match. But I don't know. I wanted a little bit more. But again, for NXT, it was not a bad show. Definitely not a terrible show. But 7.5 for me.
Michael gives it a 7 out of 10. Jacy gives it a 9 out of 10. Okay, 9 out of 10.
Okay.
For me personally, okay, just based on everything I saw, because I'm not taking into consideration the Beach Brawl match because I didn't see that match in its entirety. I also had to get a 7.5 out of 10. I did like most of the matches.
Yep.
I kind of didn't like all the backstage segments. I mean, I get what they were going for. You know, they wanted to give a Trick Williams versus Ilja Dragunov that big hype feeling, so that's why they were doing a lot of backstage segments. But overall, you know, it was a pretty decent show. I did not give it a 3.
It just felt forced. With the Trick Williams thing, yes, it's a great match, but is it going to be Danielson and Ospreay? No. Is it going to be historic? Like, you know, we'll just talk about Swerve Strickland's win at AEW. No, there's been a joke online that basically they copied each other's homework down to the referee to everything else. But you know what? Look, at the end of the day, two very, very talented gentlemen are world champions for their respective brands, and nothing wrong with that. I love talent, and I love that they're all over whose house, and whoop that trick. Hey, can't complain about either character.
Yeah. So as we get ready to wrap up, Josh, where can people find you?
Again, you can find me on Twitter at GamerPeroski and on the WrestleManiacs Podcast.
You can follow me on Twitter at @. I talk all things wrestling, WWE, AEW, TNA. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the occasional Saturdays and Sundays. For all things TNA, check me out on Body Slam every Thursday as I review TNA Impact. Speaking of TNA, I was at TNA Rebellion, ended the tapings this past weekend. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can see all the cool clips from Rebellion if you haven't already done so. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But thank you guys all so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow after AEW Dynamite, and Josh will see you Friday.
Yep, that's right.
Over at the WrestleManiacs Podcast. And as a unit, we'll see you guys next week for NXT Spring Breakin 2.
That's right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.